3, 2, 1. So this is not a mukbang, even though you see the food. Or is it? Dun dun dun. No. A few months ago, my wife and I sold our first house and decided to hit the road in our new home. A 31-foot Class C beauty that we gutted out and renovated ourselves. We traded in our traditional lifestyles for a lifestyle of freedom. Freedom to travel, freedom to explore, and freedom to homeschool our kids. The goal is to show our kids the world as they learn about it and create some amazing memories along the way. Follow us here on our journey as we define what it means to live out of bounds.
What's up, y'all? So we are back this week to, I guess you could tell by the title of the video, let you know our likes and dislikes
For RV life so far.
RV life so far.
Number one dislike is when filming on location, you cannot control the noise of the traffic.
Yes. So y'all remember that video we did
The
about the money video? Yeah.
Remember? And the dirt bike guy.
Yeah. Hopefully this is not a replay of that.
That's right. So essentially, we've been on the road for about 4 months so far.
It's been 4 months. Yeah.
4 months so far, full-time RVing. You guys saw our renovation video. If you haven't seen it, make sure you click up here so that you can watch. But basically, we are living full-time with our 2 fur babies and our 2 twin boys, and sometimes our daughter is with us. And we live in a Class C. If you know anything about a Class C, the space is very intimate. If you don't know about a Class C, again, watch our renovation video and you can see what the size of the Class C is. But one of the things that we've noticed is that as much as we love our RV, we loved renovating it, and she will always hold a special place in our heart. We realized that in continuing on this journey, we eventually want a bigger RV.
Yeah.
Definitely want a bigger RV. Sometimes maneuvering around the kitchen is a little difficult because counter space is limited, and then also just walking space just for everyone. Livable space is different, and so that's something that we noticed pretty early on in our journey. I'd say we definitely want an upgrade, so that's a major thing for us.
So I guess she started with dislikes.
Oh, sorry, y'all.
So I guess to add to what Shani's saying is essentially we recognize that, like, we wanted to start off with a Class C. So I guess I'll let you know why we started off with a Class C in the beginning. We started off with a Class C because we wanted to just be able to get up and go whenever we needed to, whenever we wanted to.
Traffic.
And we recognized that, number one, we couldn't pull our truck because for whatever reason, something with the transmission. So we couldn't pull our truck. So that left us to having to drive 2 different vehicles. So I drive the Class C, Bae drives the truck. So that's one thing. But when we're situated, it helps us out a lot because we're able to drive the truck and not have to drive the big RV around. So we kept the truck with us. But needless to say, in the RV, like Bae said, it's we're bumping into each other, you know. And as much as we love Vivi, you know, she has allowed us to see the need for a bigger space, even though we wanted a Class C.
Yes.
So I guess starting off with the like. We do love RV life, so do want to say that first and foremost.
Yeah.
We do love RV life. We don't plan on giving it up anytime soon.
No.
Even with the hiccups and obstacles here and there, we definitely still love the RV life. And it gives us the freedom to travel. And so, of course, that's what we love about it. Essentially, I think that that's what most people love about the RV life, is that it gives them the freedom to travel, to get up and go. In a brick and mortar, you don't have that flexibility to just get up, take your whole house with you, and go to a different state or go to a different city or whatever the sort may be. Or if you have a brick and mortar and you have an RV, then of course you have that flexibility.
You have that, but
if you're not working for somebody else, though.
Right.
So
yeah, and that's the other thing. Like we know people who do have both, and I mean, they love it. You know, I think it's just one of those things where you figure out what works for you and your situation. For us right now, because of how we're trying to direct money and grow our investment portfolio and reduce debt, we wanted to just go with RV as opposed to maintaining both. And because we realized that with the size of the house that we have, there was a lot of unutilized space that just started collecting dust, as nice as it looked. And so that's one of the things for us. Like, even though we know that eventually we want to upgrade to a bigger RV, we still love the concept of tiny living and how it allows us to maximize our space better, and to actually engage with each other more often, because you can't necessarily go and hide in a corner of a house. You kind of have to communicate with each other, have to work things out, and you know, talk to each other and hang out. So
right,
that's a major plus.
Right. It's just, we again, like, we in the house, we recognize the boys will be in their rooms, come out here and there, wouldn't see them.
Yep.
Like, it's, so it was just, you know, let's go to a more intimate space. It's really intimate, so that's why we are again going to expand. That's, are you about to say something? Yeah,
I was gonna say, you know, Babe mentioned the whole thing about some people still maintain a house with the RV, and that kind of leads me to, or made me think about our next plus for RV life, and that is keeping a low monthly overhead. So there really are not, we pay cash for our RV because, again, it was something that was very important to us to redirect money the way that we wanted it to. So we don't have a monthly payment with our RV because we do own it.
Do they know the whole process of, like, we sold the house, used the money from the house to pay for it?
I don't think so, but you just heard.
So you just heard. So yeah, so we sold the house, used the money from the house, because we had equity in the house. So we used that money from the house to pay cash for our RV. If you're wondering how much our RV was, it was $26,000. And it was $26,000 because the RV market is booming, so everything is overpriced. But we did find ours on Facebook Marketplace, and $26,000. I know it seems like a lot, but it's $26,000 to live in essentially a tiny home. And we went ahead and paid that amount because we still wanted the freedom to not have. We could have gotten a note, but we didn't want a note, and so we went ahead and put that money up front. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it was very important for us to, again, keep our monthly overhead low. Aside from our personal bills, the RV itself doesn't necessarily generate monthly bills, because even with campgrounds, when you pay a monthly or weekly or nightly rate, it tends to include your electricity, your sewer, your water. So there isn't a utility fee. For some longer term rentals or stays,
over a month.
Yeah, for longer term, they include, or sometimes they do have like a separate fee. So you'll pay your monthly, and then there's a separate fee. We haven't encountered that yet. So again, our monthly overhead is extremely low. We pay insurance on our RV, but that's pretty much the only bill that the RV itself consistently has every month. We also have a RV membership with different campground organizations, so it allows us to not always have to pay like a monthly fee per se. You know, we may pay part of the month or something like that. So major plus for us, low monthly overhead.
We're able to control, like for one, like if we wanted to do a month somewhere, we wanted to just splurge or do whatever in a month, we can decide to do that. But maybe the next month we decide, hey, we want to kind of like limit expenses this month. We're able to kind of control and gauge the amount of money that we want to actually put out on where we're staying.
So those are like our major pluses for us. They're at the top of our list. Even though I said I started with wanting to upgrade our RV, we still absolutely love RV life in tiny living. So now we can transition into the not so great parts that we've experienced so far. So you guys already heard me talk about limited space and how that can at times be difficult. And so I kind of feel like that's one of those middle grounds for us, really, because it's like, it's not a complete thing that we hate. You know, it's not something that we always love. It's one of those things that meets in the middle because we love being closer to each other. It's just that sometimes that limited space really hinders whatever we may be trying to do in that particular moment.
And I think it also is like we've been conditioned to be in bigger spaces. So quite naturally, when you decide to downgrade, it's an adjustment. And so you just have to let yourself go through that adjustment. And some days are good. Some days you're like, I'm ready to go back to a brick and mortar. I'm just playing. The next thing that we have experienced, and as you can see, this is, if you watch like our story on Instagram, if not, make sure you're following us on Instagram, Living Out of Bounds. But the holidays are really rough for us this year.
Mainly Christmas, because Thanksgiving we kind of had.
I guess, yeah. So mainly just Christmas Eve and Christmas. As you all know, the boys, you know, are not always with us. Sometimes they go to see their family in Memphis, and so they go there, and so they weren't with us this Christmas, which they have been with us every Christmas except 2017, but outside of that they've been with us, and so it was an adjustment for us. And we were because we are in Florida, but I don't know if that's like RV specific, because we could have changed our location and been closer to family even in the RV, so that's probably not RV specific, so we'll cross that back off the list. That's not an RV negative, you know, that was just kind of us sharing a moment, being transparent. I mean, even though we do have family in Florida, it was like it would still be around our family with kids, and so it was really just, oh, we miss our kids. Yep, we are those moms, and we missed our kids. Yeah, so not the RV's issue. That was us. But what RV issue was, though, and we could have done it, but Christmas decorations, and maybe that's also like what helps you get in the Christmas spirit is just the Christmas decorations and things like that. And because we moved from campground to campground, it was really difficult for us to actually put the decorations up. It seemed like a waste of time, because the minute we were going to put them up, we were moving to a different campground. That is RV specific. Is having to move to different campgrounds, we not really be for that, like in a short period of time.
And that's kind of within your control, though. Like if you are like us and you discover, oh, I don't like to move so frequently, because moving does mean packing up and securing everything, unplugging, and you know, it's a whole process. And so how often do you really want to do that? That's something you want to think about. We thought initially starting out, we thought we were going to be moving like every couple of days. We were going to see this and see that, and we're going to be exploring all around. And no, that we actually,
it's exhausting.
It is very exhausting. We actually don't like necessarily doing that. When we get to a location and we're finally set up and we've unpacked everything, we like to kind of be there for a while so that we don't have to unpack again, and kind of uproot again and have the opportunity to explore the area around us. So that's something you definitely want to think about. How frequent do you actually want to move around? And just understand that if you're trying to move around more frequently, know what comes with that. It will absolutely be a process that you do need to go through every time. You don't want to shortcut it because it could end up resulting in something unsafe or something broken and damaged and things like that.
Yeah, because travel days are, I don't want to say stressful, but they are a lot. They're not something we look forward to, for sure. So that's like the part of RV life that we don't like, is the travel days. And we have realized that traveling, we can't travel more than about 4 hours is our top. So yeah. Another thing, and as we're talking about travel days and just living in the RV, is I don't like being in the RV when it's raining and storming. Like, it was here in Florida, it was like a tornado watch, and I've always been terrified of like Mother Nature coming through. I stay bowing down like, sis, you got it. But living in the RV and it's raining, and I don't know if that's the case in all RVs, but at least in ours, maybe people that have an RV can come in below and, you know, let us know if they have this, if they experience the same thing. But when you're in the RV and it's raining, it is so loud and so annoying. Like, some people like the sound of the rain. I can deal with it sometimes, but when it sounds like literally the rain is about to poke holes in the roof of the RV, I'm not here for that. So it's that, and then sometimes the wind shaking the RV. It's a little scary for me. So
now, granted, if you're ever at an RV park and there are some severe weather conditions, you're normally instructed to like go to a secure building, which is the bathhouse, whichever bathhouse is near you. And we were always near the secure building, so if something got really bad, we could go there. But we just realized that it did give us just a little more anxiety than it had like when we were in a brick and mortar. I don't recall feeling the same way, you know, if it was storming really bad outside when we were in the house. Well, she did.
Not as bad though.
And so, you know, so it's just another element that you want to be aware of if you are transitioning into RV life or thinking about transitioning into RV life. It's not like it's a deal breaker for us,
No.
because we also know that, you know, we've had conversations about just like our emergency exit strategy in the event that there were some really, really bad weather situations. But just know that that could be something for you to consider and think about when you're in this space. Outside of that, we don't really have a bunch of things that like we don't like about the RV.
We did realize that with any journey, with any transition, there's going to be ups and downs. And I think that if you're willing to take the ups, if you're willing to take the downs with the ups, to me, then it's a beautiful journey. And we've met some wonderful people. That's another upside. That's actually, that wasn't on the list, but
let's add that,
because literally at every campground, well, at most of them, we've never had any issues with anyone.
No.
But we've met some just amazing people that have just been very helpful, and even people that we would not necessarily think that we would actually connect with. Like, when you're just open,
you can.
It's a beautiful exchange. And so it definitely teaches us a lot. I think it may teach other people to just sometimes not always have your guard up, you know. And it's a beautiful community, and that's what I say. And we've met our favorite couple yet. When I say they are our hearts, they are our souls. More on that later. But they have
just kind of taken us in and just helped to guide us on this journey, because they are older and they've been doing it a lot longer, and they just want to help. And it's just really, really, like Babe say, it's really beautiful. We're very fortunate to have connected with them. And we know that we would not have connected if we weren't on this journey. If it wasn't for RV life, you know. And so that's probably like the number one thing, hands down. Being able to connect with people that you would not have normally connected with, and having those new experiences, and then those connections lead to open doors.
Yes.
That you never even knew were for you or would have opened. Some things we wouldn't have even been able to fathom, and those things have fallen in line. And so we're just very grateful how it's added to our journey so far, and we just really appreciate it. And that is the number one thing that we love about RV life.
Interesting, the number one thing, and we did not put it on the list.
Right. So crazy.
But yeah, we did want to hop on here as we're getting ready to we have to go home to handle some business, so just letting you all know, kick it with us, stay with us, but we are going home to just handle some businesses, still dropping videos every Monday. We just want y'all to know that we are still loving it, and we are still enjoying it. The boys, it's growing on them. That's the truth.
They actually would prefer if we moved more often.
And y'all not driving.
Crazy, right?
That's what they would prefer more.
Yep. So if you're worried about like how your kids will handle it or how they will feel,
they will adjust.
Kids are resilient. They will adjust. They will feed off of your energy.
And they've made connections too. Like they met someone from Brazil. The boys from Brazil.
Yeah, and I mean,
they didn't even speak the same language, but they were somehow communicating.
Yeah. So it's just very cool to just see what life, what small gifts life can give you when you're open.
Step out.
And just kind of step out that box and live out of bounds. Shameless plug. So yeah, guys, that's all we have for you in this video. We hope that it helped at least one person. Y'all know, as always, if you have any questions, we are so open to answering anything, almost anything, depending on what you're asking. So leave a comment below, hit us up in our email, and we will absolutely get back to you guys. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you can stay updated on our journey, because we do have some really, really cool things in store for 2022. And we can't wait to share them with you guys. So,
all right, we love y'all.
Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and follow us on Instagram at Livin Outta Bounds.